Hello everyone and welcome back. So today I'm here barefaced because I'm going to do a first impression. I was not planning on doing this whatsoever, but when I found it was releasing and when I actually found the product, I was very excited. So the product I'm doing today is the Rimmel Lasting Matte Foundation. I saw this was releasing, Rimmel was just releasing this foundation. This is one of the first times I have a product that's brand new and I actually got it, and I got it on sale as well, which was great. So I'm going to read you the claims and everything, and then we'll get into the first impression. Okay, so I'm actually on the Chemist Warehouse website because I could not find this on the Rimmel website whatsoever. So I actually did click on the color 103 True Ivory as well. It says it is suitable for oily and acne prone skin. You do get 30 mils, which is a standard fluid ounce. At the moment, Chemist Warehouse has it on sale for $14.99. And normally, nearly everywhere, it's about $17.95, which is still reasonable, especially for Rimmel and things like that. I pretty much always buy things that are on sale, so this little one will probably last me a while. So if I repurchase it again, I will probably always get it on sale. But it says it's for oily, acne-prone skin. It's a lightweight mousse consistency. It is full coverage. A little bit goes a long way. It says that it can blend with your fingers, a brush, or a sponge. I will be testing a brush and a sponge. It is a lightweight feel, and it is also got a smoothing effect. So it's supposed to be full coverage, matte, and have a smoothing effect, which I don't know if you can tell, but I need the smoothing effect. So I am very excited to try this. At the moment, I just want to see, does it say how many shades it comes in? I can't exactly tell, but Chemist Warehouse has 10 shades, but I believe it came in a little bit more. Sometimes some chemists get some colors, some get more, some get less, it just depends. But personally, I got the shade 103 True Ivory. So I'm actually going to take you just through some swatches, and then we'll get into the first impression. So here are the swatches. These first four are all Rimmel, and then I have that one which is the Maybelline one that I use. So this is the Lasting Finish Foundation in 103. It has oxidized a little bit. It looks extremely yellow, which is promising because I'm very yellow. This is the Rimmel 25-hour foundation with the Comfort Serum. That is in 100 Ivory. This is the Match Perfection, which is the one with the blue lid. This is the old shade of 100 Ivory. They have changed all the shades and stuff of this. This is the old 100 Ivory, which is that one. The third one over, which is this one, is the Wake Me Up Foundation. It is also in the shade 100 Ivory. The only thing I have noticed with Rimmel is these are all, well, not that one, these three are all supposed to be the shade 100 Ivory. All three of them are different. So I really wish they would be a bit more consistent with the actual shades, because that one's like grey, that one's like neutral, and that one's flat out orange. So I wish they were a little bit more consistent. And this one's just the Maybelline Matte and Poreless in 110, or sorry, 112, because that's like my most used foundation. So I thought I'd add that in there. Like normal, I am not wearing a primer. I don't believe in primers and things like that. I believe that they don't really work, but I also do first impressions without primers because I like to see how well this lasts. I also will be using my Model Co Invisible Matte Finishing Face Powder because this does set my foundation, but it doesn't really change the consistency of my foundation. It's not like the Rimmel Stay Matte where it'll make everything really matte. This doesn't add coverage, doesn't take it away, it just sets my foundation. So that is why I use this powder. And yeah, so I will be using my Chi Chi sponge like normal. This is the pink one that I have, but they're all the same. They all feel the same. This is wet at the moment. It is perfectly clean. It's just stained. All of my brushes are actually perfectly clean, which is wonderful. And for the brush, I will be using my round top just because I can feel this foundation is like a mousse, and I feel slightly thicker foundations slash moussey ones go better with a round top. I cleaned my brushes like a week and a half ago. I haven't actually worn makeup in like 2 weeks. Simple squeeze tube packaging, which I really like. The little stripe thing down here does change according to the shade that you have, which I find is really nice, because then I don't have to actually try and read it to figure out what shade I am or compare them. It says ultra comfortable powder finish formula, leaves the skin truly matte, feeling soft, and provides the perfect flawless base. I hope so. So at the moment my skin, as you can see, is not actually the best. My patch down here, this is my problem area, just down here is like flared up a bit. Not as bad as what it normally is. I've got 2 little pimples there. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit out on the back of my hand, and it is just a very, very thick mousse. Very thick mousse. So I'm going to start with a brush on this side of my face. I'm just going to grab a little bit. It is a mousse, but it seems like it's really like a creamy mousse, not like a dry mousse. Okay, so upon immediate effect, the feeling that I got was it feels greasy. It feels like I'm blending like grease into my face. Doesn't feel greasy-ish to the touch. It feels a bit more hydrating than I thought, but it feels like I'm blending grease into my face. But for the first time, it's actually a foundation that hasn't flat out caked up my brush. Nearly all my foundations just flat out cake up my brush. So yeah. But it's looking nice. It's not looking as dry. I was actually expecting it to look quite dry. The colour's actually fine. I think once I set it and everything, it'll be fine. The tone is perfect, so even if I just need to lighten it a little bit with a white foundation, the tone is right, so that's good to know. So it actually blended in very nicely. Upon initial inspection, do I think this is smoothing? No. Once I've done everything, I will show you, but on my forehead, that is not smoothing whatsoever at all. It is still showing like the bumps and things, and if I put just the tiniest little bit more, this is what happens when I use a brush. I don't get full coverage on my cheek. It is decent coverage, like as you can see. I can see the fact that there's lumps on my skin, but I can't see the redness of them. So obviously, comparing the sides of my face, it covers very well. It doesn't seem to be extremely matte. It might dry down a bit more, but it seems to almost have the same glow. That blended in very quickly with my sponge, and it does seem to look a lot smoother on this side of my face. So I might actually just go over and smooth all this out and see if that makes a bit of a difference, which it already is. So I'd say, like, it doesn't look bad blending it in with a brush. It's not like some of my other foundations that look streaky and cakey. My Maybelline Matte and Poreless, I would not even imagine blending that in with a sponge because it looks terrible. But this actually looks okay. The texture on my forehead's not completely smooth, but I've got so much. I don't really care much about the texture. I would just, you know, for review purposes, I am telling you, it doesn't look to be as extremely smoothing as I thought it would be. The center of my face, so just around my nose and that, is not having as good coverage. So I'm just going to see if this is buildable. Okay, so the coverage built up a little bit, and it doesn't seem to be like any different to the first layer. So it seems to be a little bit buildable. I will actually go and do a flash test and insert the photo right now. Okay, so you guys have just seen the photo on the screen, but I now have it on my phone as well, and there is a pretty big white flashback, considering the foundation is actually too dark / matches me perfectly. My chest seems to be very, very dark compared to my face. Okay, so I'm going to go and do my makeup, the rest of my makeup. The products and that will be down below as well. And then I will come back and show you the photo of me with my makeup fully done. Okie dokie, I am back and looking a lot better. I don't actually have a lip product on because I'm going to be eating lunch and that soon, so I thought it is not worth it. So I'm going to zoom you in and show you what I mean in a second on my nose. But basically when I put my concealer on, it took away some of the coverage on my cheek. You might be able to tell, but in real life, particularly on this side, I can see a little bit here. I can sort of see around here where my concealer blended that it's like I can see where my concealer sort of stops and the foundation starts. So I don't know if you can see, but this is what I mean here. As you can see, like right there is where the foundation is. It's looking really like weird and caked up here. And that patch there, that's basically when it took away my concealer. And this side's not as bad, but again, you can see it's like the matte foundation right there, and then it goes into my concealer. I don't know how that happened. It's caked up on the sides of my nose quite bad, but everything does because my nose like indents quite far. And I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of like there. You can almost see the coverage wears off and like my foundation starts. It's looking like a little bit cakey here. This is my chin. Again, it's like, you know, looking a bit funny. I put a stripe of my concealer here just to highlight my chin, and it's taken the foundation off. I didn't put any extra concealer over here. You can see over here it's not looking too good on my pores. That also could be the blush that I use because the blush is fairly glowy. And then I'll show you my forehead. So as you can see, it's sunk into the line, my little line I have there. I'll get my hair out the way if I can. And there's my forehead. But yeah, my forehead's not looking too bad. In between here, part of me is quite a bit textured, but it's normally like that. So I mean, my forehead's not looking too bad considering. But like, yeah, around here particularly, my nose always has big issues. I think it's just because I am so oily that sometimes like foundation just doesn't want to go on my nose. So at the moment I like it a little bit. It would be okay to use as an everyday foundation, one that, you know, don't have to think about too much. It did blend in very quickly, but if it's going to do this to my concealer all the time, then I won't be using it. I don't know if it's because I had just left it on for so long. Normally when I'm just doing my makeup, I put my foundation on, I blend it on, and then I go straight in and put my concealer on. I don't need to wait for it to dry. So this could have dried down before I put my concealer on. That would probably explain why it lifted some of it up. It does still feel very lightweight, I will admit that. It does still feel very lightweight. The colour, it's a little bit dark, but I've blended it down enough that, you know, you can't really tell. 12:22, I need to change my wallpaper because it's no longer summer, but I will check back in later. So it is currently 4 o'clock and I'm just gonna say the foundation's been on for like 4.5 hours. At the moment, it's still looking really good. It looks a lot better once it started to warm up to my skin. Now I would say, particularly just here and on my nose, I am going a bit oily, but it's not like over the top, but it's more than just being dewy. Like, this is starting to go oily. My forehead has got the slightest bit of oil, and it's actually making it look really nice. So I wouldn't classify this as being like completely matte. And I do definitely disagree with the powder finish. It's not a powder finish at all. I was just wiping my hand down here to see if it transfers, and a little bit comes off. So it's not completely transfer proof, but like a lot isn't gonna come off. It's like caked up in my chin here, as you can see. My concealer's still on. I can still see my blush, my bronzer, and my highlight. It's settled into the line on my forehead a tad more, and it's looking a tad heavier here. So I'll leave it on a little bit longer, and I'll check back in probably at the end of the night. Hello everyone, so it is currently 7 PM and I am basically just about ready to take this off. So this is the final update, and quite obvious you can see is this mark on my chin. We had hamburgers, well, I had a hamburger for dinner, and it's a result that is a result of it wiping a foundation off my face. So with me, once I go even the slightest bit oily, my makeup comes off. So I'm not oily down here, so that's probably why earlier it doesn't transfer as bad down here, but it did on my chin. I'm a tiny bit more oily over my nose. It's not that I'm more oily, it's just it's spread out a little bit further, so it's come out to here, whereas earlier it was about here. And it has started to sink into my little lines there. My forehead still looks relatively good. It's a little bit heavier here, but not too bad. What else? It's really warmed up to my face throughout the day. So I actually really do actually like it now. I wasn't as impressed before, but it does look very smooth on my face. The minute that I just let it sit on my skin and let it warm up to my skin, it looks so much better. I still think I could do with a smoothing primer over all my breakouts and everything, but then again, when my breakouts get to like this point, there's not really much I can do. Other than that, I'm actually really impressed. Like, my forehead just looks so nice, and yeah, you can still see some of my, like, that bump there, the tiny one there, but I mean, at the moment, that's not even anywhere near as bad as like what my face looks like without makeup on. Yeah, I will check back in tomorrow. Hello everyone, it is the next day. It's actually about 20 past 1 and I've had the foundation on now for about an hour and a half. I filmed this makeup look and I actually just used the foundation in that look. And I did blend it in just with my sponge. I didn't bother with the brush. And I have to say, still when you very first apply it, when you're blending it in, it still has that greasy weird feel. I did bake my T-zone with my normal Higher Sun powder, and I set the rest of my face again just with the Model Co Invisible Matte Powder. And again today I actually used the same bronzer and blush. So far so good. I just want to point out yesterday as well, my nose felt really itchy. I don't know if that had anything to do with like the actual foundation or if it was the fact I was going oily or what. I've got no idea, but my nose was quite itchy yesterday. It does not feel like that at all right now. Blush, bronzer and highlighter still blended out just fine. It is sinking into my line here, but other than that at the moment it's totally fine. The only place I put concealer is under my eyes. Hello everyone, so it is the end of the night and it is the end of this video. It is currently 7:30 and I'm done. I'm done for the day. So I'm going to go and have a shower. No, not really have a shower, have a bath. Anyway, as you can see, I am quite a bit oily, but I have to say it's just about the same amount as yesterday. It has held up just as well. It hasn't come off my chin tonight because I was eating Sicilian chicken, so I was using knife and fork. So it hasn't come off there. It hasn't actually come off anywhere else. It looks a little bit iffy there. I'm just going to turn my lamp on and change the settings on my camera so that, you know, I have a little bit more light, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Apologies if it's a little bit orange. The globe that's in my lamp is actually called like warm or something like that, and I can't find either just a flat out white or like cool toned globe to fit this lamp because it has a very specific shape and wattage. Obviously, seeing as there's light coming off on my face, I do look a bit more oily than what I actually am, but I have to say I am a bit more oily than what I think I was yesterday. I think this foundation, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, I think foundation in general, I want to use a couple of my favorites and just see if baking makes a difference anymore. Because I have to say, I know I was not this, like the oils come out to here this time, whereas yesterday it was like here. And so I think I actually go more oily with baking than I do without. I'm just looking in the viewfinder at the moment. But again, I still think the same thing today. It looked, you know, a little bit textured. I wouldn't say dry, but it looked a little bit textured when I first put it on. Still felt kind of greasy and funny blending it in, but as it was set and everything, it set down. My bronzer, blush and highlighter are all still on, and like everything blended totally fine. It all looked really the same as yesterday. I do really like the color. It's a tad dark, but it actually works well. Yes, the flashback is still there and everything like that. Thank you guys for watching. Check out my social media sites down there. The subscribe button is in the corner down there, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.